Today, I'm very excited to have Hannah Wheeler on the show. Thank you for being here, Hannah.
Thanks for having me.
Hannah is the founder and brand consultant at Guide, a Canadian brand consultancy. She has led for over a decade. Through Guide, Brand Venture Academy, and Plant Venture, Hannah works at the intersection of brand strategy, education, and well-being, helping organizations build brands and teams that are designed to thrive. Her work focuses on sustainable growth, clear positioning, and equipping businesses to bring marketing in-house with confidence. So thank you so much for being here. Why I wanted you on the show, the conversation we had after that last Opus event where we first really connected was awesome. We talked about philosophy, life values, personal values, how everything's intermingled, and then just sort of I felt we got along really well, and I like those kind of conversations. So. Tell me a little bit about you, like what's some of your favorite things to do?
Well, I live on an acreage.
Okay.
So in my spare time, I have 2 kids. I homeschool, and I've got an acreage. So there's a lot of work to be done there, but it's a lot of fun.
And you're busy.
Yeah. Oh, everyone.
What made you want to homeschool?
Oh, just kind of the state of where things are at. And I just wanted to I wanted to teach the future generations. So that's where my desire came from to homeschool.
Something that stood out about you to me was you embrace networking way more than I've noticed other people. It's like a lot of people view it as a necessary evil. And you were at the Opus event, and you were there as a mentor as well to the founders. But you really embrace that. So tell me about, like, let's get right into it. I got warm-up questions. We're gonna jump into it.
Yeah, sounds good.
We talked just before we were rolling about building a personal brand. So who should build a personal brand?
Everyone.
Now tell me why you think that.
So everybody has their own identity. So every person has an internal identity, and then that's shown through how you carry yourself, how you talk, and then what you wear. And so everybody has an identity, regardless. If you're human, you have an identity. So if you want to be hired somewhere, it's important to show this identity.
So when it comes to like networking, do you view that as part of the personal brand extension? Is that like...
Oh yeah. For myself, that's what I love to do. I love to talk to people. I love to impact people in the small conversations. That's where I find I can see people's faces, the aha moments. I can really be there to help people in these quick conversations. So yeah.
You do, so your business has changed from what you shared with me when we were chatting before, quite drastically. So from sort of more traditional ad agency structure,
yes, now
you focus on more coaching, mentorship style, speaking in like one-off in services for companies. Tell me about like that switch there and kind of what you're telling or guiding people to do.
Yeah, so I guess for myself and my company, I'm an entrepreneur. So everything is linked to my purpose fulfillment at the end of the day. So if I'm doing something that's purposeful, it's going to have a lot of impact. If I'm working with a client and I'm doing something that is not my skill set, or it's not my purpose, I'm not going to give the best, highest quality of work in that. And so I started to see over 10 years, actually longer, since 2013, what I really found was impactful for people. So I got to see what I was good at. And then from there, after doing different kinds of marketing, I did design in-house. I was working in agencies. I did animation and a bunch of banner ads and YouTube pre-rolls, things like that. So I did kind of everything. And then from there, I realized what my gifting was and where I wanted to focus, and that was in branding. Just because everyone needed to understand their true identity to really thrive.
So if we talk about brands in a bit of an abstract way, would you almost view an organization as like they have their own brand, but then their team is also like everyone's just brands? Like we're talking a bit abstract here.
Yeah, every brand is a person, I see it as. So you have your internal, and then you have what people see. So it's the same idea of what's inside. Each person that's there, they need to align with the brand for it to thrive. So if you're in a big organization and there's people that don't align with the values of the organization, people are not going to give their all. They're not going to. There's going to be a disconnect with their teams. So that I've seen that in many organizations. But once those people are aligned, then that's where that power comes from and that alignment comes from.
So how much are you actually talking about brand and stuff, and how much are you talking about values, alignment, getting in the weeds?
That's all what it is.
Like, so what, like a tradition, like one of your,
Yeah.
so you have people on monthly, like they have monthly training, like they're engaged with you like long term. What's most of the conversation lead around?
I would say a lot of people and their limiting beliefs around their identity as a company or their identity as a person. So they have these, people call them limiting beliefs. I would say it's like kind of false identities. It's like the lies that they tell themselves, or it's things they think they should do, or
Give me
people
a
tell
couple
them they should do.
examples of limiting beliefs, like common ones that our
Common ones would
society
be
carries.
like, no marketing agency does this. No one would ever focus on, like for us, it was no one would ever focus on branding. You're in Saskatchewan. Why would you just focus on branding and then training people in-house? Like that is crazy.
And the limiting belief would be you don't believe it, so you don't believe there's customers out who would want.
Yeah. So I fell into that trap in the beginning. I was like, okay, yeah, I need to do, all this marketing. I got to do everything. But then I found that I was just running and hustling and really wasn't fine-tuning my skills or making this impact. So
and then what are you trying to flip? Like how do you overcome these limiting beliefs?
It's something that you have to be consistently working towards a vision. So I then created this in my mind. I could see what this would look like, and I created goals to reach that vision I saw in my mind that I had never seen before. And so I worked on that bit by bit. There was things that got in the way of that, and that my own challenges that came in the way. But I believe that this vision, I can't stop not see it. So.
Can I expose myself a little bit here? Can we workshop me just a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Just for people who are listening or watching. How would you? Okay, so let's poke out a few of my limiting beliefs.
Okay.
How would you poke at me for that? How would you figure that out?
Well, I would say, what are you doing that's going to impact the world or your area of the world? What is something that you feel like you do that really contributes to the world? To your area. Could be just Saskatoon.
Okay.
Your team, yeah.
I think, man,
it's a tough question.
we got that. It's long form content. We can wait.
It's a tough question.
I would say, okay, what do I think? The question is, what do I think is the thing I contribute?
Yeah. How do you contribute?
I think how I contribute to my customers, or the ones I serve the best, or have the best kind of jive with, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Helping them see their organization anew. So one of my clients just before the holidays was like, we do like content production for them. And she's like, the content production you do, and we do her social media management. She's like, that's great. Yeah. But man, you help me see my organization differently. And like, not just like feel good kind of stuff, but just like, I would say, this is a phrase I use a lot, is like see her magic. Mm-hmm. Because people tend to see their world as it's normal to them.
Yes.
So they don't see it as like unique. And so it's hard to, you could probably speak to this. It's hard to market yourself when you don't see yourself as unique, because then you start making assumptions, maybe these limiting beliefs, like everybody knows this already. Mm-hmm. I'm not, or something like that. But yeah, so for her, that's really like what keeps her engaged with us. And so we kind of lean into that. We're pretty dynamic with our clients, where if we can help them out and it's a bit out of scope, we can shift scope as we go. Any long-term customers?
Okay, so then I would say, have you ever thought about helping people on a greater scale to do that exact same thing?
I want to. That's where we want to go. I don't know. I feel like that's the mountain I'm climbing.
Yeah, and the belief that you and that desire to do it. So even just seeing how that is something that is so unique to you guys, and that's something that's causing transformation.
Yeah.
In that person's life.
Yeah, literal transformation.
Yeah. So if you're able to kind of spark a transformation in someone to see themselves in a different way, then that person also can become who they're really meant to become.
How hard do you have people lean into that? Now I'm not letting you get away with this. We didn't actually find a limiting belief yet. Yeah. But let's come back to that in a second. How hard do you have your clients, you find out And now I didn't come to this realization without, like, I'm already like years into being beyond a photography studio.
Yes.
But how hard do you have people lean into that? Like, even if I was your customer or client, you know, would you be like, Matt, this is what you said fills your cup. This is what you said makes you feel alive. Why are you not doing only this? Why aren't you diving deeper? Like, is that part of your approach or?
Yeah, I would say many people find that when they've been in something for a long time, that it's harder to kind of pare away those other areas or even just focus in on this thing that really fulfills them. I would say it's harder later, easier sooner. So if you're a newer entrepreneur, it's easier to grab those things right off the hop and then go into that area. But you're like myself, yeah.
Well, part of it, I mean, I've done this since 2008.
Yes.
So I've done it a while, and I've changed and grown through there. Do you find like that's also part of it? Like whatever I find that works now is still only a step before the next thing, or?
There's always levels, and there's always levels in between with a transition point, and it's usually painful. And you kind of question, what am I doing? Should I keep going on what I'm doing, or should I completely abandon it?
So when I'm like, oh, just hire me, I'll just. Like,
yeah, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with doing the work. I still do brands, but I do brands in a way that I can also learn, so that I can help people on the training side. So if I'm not actively working with people, all those insights come from when I'm on a job that I can actually bring into those training situations.
Okay, let's uncover those. Let's nail down a limiting belief. We're workshopping this here, so let's dive a little deeper.
Yeah. Okay.
What would the next question you have be?
So it would be, what is your biggest fear in business?
Having to let people go.
Yeah.
That's actually it.
Yeah.
Like, and then because of what it means, it would mean like failure. It doesn't, but it's like and I've had to let a couple of people go in the past. That was like probably the hardest thing I've done, especially because of my values. Like, my team means a lot to me and I brag about them, but then also it's like it feels like a betrayal to them and me to like not be able to do it. But also, if things aren't working, you know, the whole thing could fall apart too.
Yes.
And then I view that as an internal scar on who I am.
Yes, I'm the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I like getting the nice guy points too. Like, I don't want to have hard conversations.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same person that way. It devastates me to let people go. I've let people go as well. And I would say that I had a huge hit after that happened in my moral character. And so having to build that back up, realizing that it was necessary for growth.
I've done work on this before where it's like, and we maybe talked about the idea of this, but like, you think of the drawbacks to things staying the way they are, and then the benefits of having to let someone go.
Yes.
And then you neutralize that in your brain. And I've done that. I just obviously haven't done it enough.
You have to. I know, right?
So it's still
there.
It's still like this fear. Like,
yeah, and usually fear is what holds back the potential. So in everyone I've worked with, it's those fears. For me, my fear is that being behind the camera. So
you mean in front of the camera?
You know, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Behind, you're right. In front of. So, having pictures, video. And so, but it's necessary so for me, I'm like, well, I don't just talk about myself. And so that's why I don't want to do it. But then I realized that if I'm not showing up for people, I'm not able to help them. So I'm doing them a disservice by not showing up and helping people. So then realizing I just had to reframe that fear.
You sat down here and gave me a very clear intention that this would be a good thing for you if people listening, watching, and myself as just your conversation partner got something out of it. Yes, I'm here to impact people, to help people, even if it's just one person. Like, what do you want people to get out of it? Like there's part of it, like, they might not know what they want to get out of it. Yeah. Like, honestly, even just sitting with you at that dinner, I got something out of it. I was like, great conversation for me. Like, do you sit there with that intention? Like, or I just go into it hoping that I'm not going to be focused on my own motives, that I'll be able to listen to help someone overcome challenges that they're experiencing, or able to step into what they're good at and called to do. I love hearing like I like sitting across from people like you. Partly because we have the shared values. Like you and I have like a lot of things in common, I think, that were revealed during that conversation. I love hearing people like you just speak and tell your story. Is that hard for you to do that?
Incredibly hard.
Do you prefer to be the question asker?
Yes, but I'm at the point now in my kind of journey that I need to reveal those challenges that I went through so that I can help other people going through that overcome it and not feel alone.
Is your belief like if I keep asking you, like I could I'm the type of person, I'm a sponge. I love to just hear people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Probably why I like this podcast format selfishly.
Yes.
Just tell me why you wouldn't want to just rant all day. Like, or why you wouldn't be able to notice, or maybe now you could pick up on people's cues, but I could just sit. I probably wouldn't even I'd probably just sit with a straight face.
Yeah.
And I tend to be hard to read. People tell me that quite often.
Yeah.
Like I'll just sit there and they'll think I'm bored and I'll like, look, I was on a Zoom call yesterday and someone was like, Matt, are you stressed? And I'm like, no, I'm just thinking. It's just me.
That's my thinking face.
Yeah. I just look.
Yeah. I sit with a smile.
Yeah.
It's like an awkward thinking face. Yeah.
But yeah. Do you kind of notice when people just want to hear from you? Like, are you
Yes.
becoming aware of that, or like, are you aware of it?
If people don't, I move on because I know that I'm not able to really impact them in their day. I'll be kind and I'll say, hi, but I know when people, their body language tells it all. Mm-hmm. So then I kind of poke it, and then I see I'm not meant to, serve this person here, and so I keep going.
No, yeah, just move on.
It's sales too. Sales is the same way. When you're meeting with people on calls, you can get a sense of, are we aligned in value? If we're not aligned in value, then it's not a good fit and you will not enjoy working with me. So then you just move on. There's no hard feelings. We are not in alignment fit.
I like that. Limiting beliefs. Okay, we kind of got to the fear.
Well, there's a lot of them. They always show up.
Now, is fear itself a limiting belief, or is there something in there? Like, if the fear is if that happened, then, I was talking about professionally, I would look not as good or successful or whatever. Those are probably givens. But would the belief be like, I can't, like, would that be like, I can't figure it out, or I don't have the skill to figure this out, navigate this challenge?
Anything negative that pulls you back that you repeat in your mind consistently, then that's the outcome that happens. So if you keep telling yourself that, like for myself, I'm like, I am not good on behind or in front of the camera. I'm not meant to be there. And so I would tell myself that that's just not my style. My style is only to be networking. That is my way that I can go and connect with people. And then realizing that is a lie that I've been telling myself. So I've been limiting myself because of this fear and thinking that I should do something different.
Okay, I'm going to be exposing. So I'm going to work through this on me.
Yeah.
I would say the stories that repeat in my mind are like, getting clients is hard. We're too expensive is actually a big one.
Oh, yeah.
Part of it's I lose a lot of RFPs to pricing.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Which is almost why I hate when they come in my inbox, because I'm like...
Me too.
Because most of the work we get, they're just like, they know they want us. We're not like that much more expensive than some people, and we are cheaper than others. It's just like, if you send an RFP out to 3 companies, like if all you need is a person holding a camera, hitting record, that's not even what we do. Like we're like diving in, finding story, finding magic, putting narrative together. Use the word transformation earlier. We believe in a good story shows transformational change. That's it. It's like not magic. It's not complicated. It's like a beginning and an end and a transformation in the middle. Mm-hmm. And that's great. That's a good story.
Yeah.
Like stories could be simple. Like, I had a sip of this coffee.
Was it good?
It didn't. Yeah. It's a story.
Yes.
But it's like factual, and it's like there's nothing about it. It didn't transform me.
Yes. It's just a flat story.
Where a better story would be, Matt was going to have Hannah on the podcast, and he was really looking forward to it because Matt likes people who have looked into their life deeply and understand the benefit of knowing your values. And he got a little nervous and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's a better story. And then the outcome would be like, oh, they just sat down, blah, blah, blah. It was really good. And the best part about it, there was nothing to be nervous about. And he was right to be excited for it because the conversation was great. Anyway, that's a better story than just the coffee. So anyway, but But yeah, so the expensive one, I would say probably at the top of my mind is like, that's sometimes a limiting belief of mine of like, especially when when money's a little bit tighter. Like we're seasonal. I don't know if your world.
Yes, everything is a season.
Okay, so like for photography and video, being in Saskatchewan, it's very summer weighted. You know, if you have any agriculture companies as customers, they want growing seasons captured, farmers working, you know, which is a huge part of Saskatchewan. We also still photograph weddings as a studio under a different brand name. Again, all throughout the summer. And then so winter's always slower, like every year. It's predictable.
Yes.
And yet when the crunch is on, it's like, oh, I probably should have saved just a little bit more money, or
Yes.
we have to wait a little bit to buy that new laptop or whatever it is. Then that's when I'm like, oh, we're probably too much. Oh, we're going to blow up. Oh, this is all falling apart.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the second,
That's
if it doesn't always go up, it goes down. And I should know this from experience. Like,
how many years have you been doing this for?
so Studio D, the brand, is like 2012.
Right.
It's like 13 years. And then I've been doing it since 2008.
Right.
Just under a different brand. But
we're the same way. We were like, this happens every year, but it's been 10 years and yeah, I'll get it too.
okay, so if that's a limiting belief, then what's the next step?
So those are things I'm still overcoming as well. I always hold firm to the price because price is value. So when I think about doing a project for someone, I don't like RFPs because in that you can't speak to values or even outcome or transformation of an organization. You're just an order taker. And when you're an order taker, you're just pricing yourself out. So I go into RFPs, but I also send a video. So I record myself speaking about the RFP and what I will do for them. So that's a secret maybe for agencies, but yeah.
So you don't avoid them. You'll still do them, but I
still do them, but...
And then you find... Not all RFPs are price only.
No.
I've learned that some organizations are always like lowest prices what they go with. Construction companies operate that way. So we've worked with some that's just how it is. Quality isn't a number you can measure. So then it just isn't there. And then, it depends. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So what would be your next steps after that? How do you kind of overcome
this
limiting belief?
I go back to a vision. So I'm one of those people that does vision boarding. I do vision boarding for my life and also for brand. And then I set the goals to make the vision actionable. So when you set goals for yourself and then you set a plan to reach those goals, and then you have to do it. So if I say, I'm afraid to get on the phone and call 5 people for sales, I need to hold myself accountable to calling 5 people every day to make sales. Okay. So I set these goals that are like non-negotiables. But I can see it in the vision. That's what kind of anchors me to completing these things.
How much of your coaching to your customers is also based around vision?
Yeah.
Like, would you say you're almost like a life coach more than a brand company, or like?
Yeah, because brand is identity, and it's understanding who you really are, and it's understanding that purpose of that brand or that person, and then it's visioning, what does this even look like in my mind? Where do I want to go that's bigger than myself? And then from there, then you start to get the next steps in place to action. You have to action your vision. You can't just like, oh yeah, I want to. You're
inspiring me right now, by the way. Tell me what your vision board looks like. Like, are you literally making you going to Staples, doing it like high school style, or
I
digitally?
do differently. I actually have for your viewers, I have a downloadable link.
Okay, we're gonna put it in the show notes.
So if you want it, go feel I can give it to you. But I have this as just in Canva. So I use this in Canva and I split it into 4 quadrants. I do life. So I believe that there's a thriving life and then there's a thriving brand. And sometimes they are together. They match together. And so entrepreneurs, they do the thriving life and brand, and then that's how they have these alignments that come between the two.
So why aren't they just the same?
Because a brand is something that you have to also detach from your person. So if the brand isn't doing well, you can't say that, okay, it's because I'm a failure. So you can never attach the brand to your personal failure or success. So that's where the differentiation comes in.
And that seems like a healthy thing to do. So
it is, yeah.
Beating yourself up when you lose one customer.
I used to.
Okay.
Oh yeah. it would take a hit for me in my person, and then I'd be afraid to, maybe I'm going to mess up with someone else. I don't want to put someone else through something challenging. I'm all against, I don't want to have pain. I want to lead people away from pain, so then I start to get that fear that would come in. But then I realized that I needed to separate the two.
You seem like the kind of person who's uses boundaries to just keep things in order. Do you thrive when there's order and suffer when there's chaos?
Oh, wait.
Like just as a human?
All the time.
Like even with your kids and parenting and like your home life?
Yes.
Like, do you need
structure? Even
just like what's for supper tonight? Like, I mean, how...
Sometimes I do better with things organized, but things never go according to plan. So I have this go with the flow. I plan it, but sometimes things I throw the plan out.
But you have a plan.
But I have a plan. I'm prepared.
Okay, here, tell me if you resonate with this. This is one of my, like, I've noticed this, like, and not like in the last year. Yeah. I really like structure, and I like structure so I know what's coming. It's like it's almost weird, and I don't know if it's like a thing I've always been like, or a thing that I've just started to become like. But for example, this was like a, if my wife ever listens to this, she's not an entrepreneur, so she probably won't, but we were like having a, just not quite figuring out the whole dinner time thing. This is something we figured out like only like 2 months ago.
Awesome. That's good.
She'd phone me on my way home from work, like it's 4:32. So we were 8 to 4:30. Her work's 8 to 4:30. She works downtown too. So
nice.
If I work like 5 minutes late, my phone's ringing, or if I'm walking to my car, my phone's ringing. And it's like, what's for supper? And then my wife was unhappy because she felt like the whole mental load was on her. And not that I wasn't willing to help, but I was also in this place where like, well, I can't help you because I don't buy the groceries. I can't just open the fridge and know what to make.
Yes.
And then I was like, okay, if we want this to work, I need structure. I can help you, but I need structure. So I'm like, okay, I'll make, and then we made it. I actually was like, okay, we're making a weekly plan. I make supper on Monday and Wednesday every week.
Great.
And then I'm going to put what I'm going to make there. And then we had a conversation. I'm like, are you okay to buy all the groceries still? She's like, yeah, that's easy. And I was like, okay, great. And then I had my kids each pick a day. I have 3 kids. So they all have a meal. And then my wife also has 2 days. And we went from her feeling like 7 days a week is the load's on her to 2. So she was thrilled about that. And then it was funny because then I was the one following the plan. And then she still, right off the bat, like she couldn't even pick the meals to do on the schedule. She's like, well, I'll figure it out like 2 days before. She was like deferring this choicing. And I guess I liked it. So I guess why I'm sharing this is like, I found like when expectations are put on me, I like to know I like to know what's expected of me and what's not, because I like my own autonomy. This is like the thing. Yeah. So I like to know when I can just chill out, go on my phone, doom scroll, whatever, go on Netflix, play a video game. And what day I'm like totally responsible. And I find freedom in structure. And that's the thing I've learned in like the last year. And this used to even happen on holidays. We'd like have these bickering fights. I'm really exposing myself today.
No, it's good.
I'm just being real. I've been married 18 and a half years. So it's been a while. You figure things out, sometimes the hard way, usually the hard way. But like even on holidays, like when are we doing the things? Because when I go on holidays, one of the values to me is like doing nothing. That's fun. Because like work is, but then when we're on holidays, my wife's view is like, we got to maximize this, do all the things, see all the places. And I'm like, okay, we need to put these in times so that you don't get stressed when I'm sitting doing nothing. And then it makes for like really successful holidays for us. And it was funny. It doesn't matter if it's just the 2 of us traveling or with our family. Like we did a road trip to Fino this summer, did camping and stuff. And it was like, hey, we know when we're going on the hike, we went rain or shine, didn't matter. We booked the surfing lessons in. We knew when that was happening. We had almost like a timetable. Anyway.
That's good.
So do you find
helpful? This is so helpful for a lot of marriage, it goes into everything, right? Business, when people can communicate well together and then they have the expectations that are set, that's when everything there's a friction.
Yeah, I think that's the magic of it is like everyone has expectations that are going to be met. Everybody gets what they want. We can know and trust it's going to happen.
So that's like a part of like when you talk about a thriving life, what would it look like to be living a thriving life? It's removing friction from your year this year. So you've already done that. That would be like that's amazing. A lot of people are looking for that to remove out of their life, and that's the solution.
And we're still doing it.
Awesome.
And then I worked, actually, yesterday was Monday. I worked last night, couldn't make supper, but we knew it and we had leftovers. And so it was fine. It was managed. And yeah.
So then it's not chaos.
Then even cleaning the kitchen, same thing. If you make supper, you clean it, because some people like to make extravagant suppers. And sometimes people who make supper are like, well, I made it, I don't have to clean. Yeah. I'm not throwing anyone in particular under the bus here. My daughter's the messiest cook. She's 16. But yeah. Life hack.
These are real life, right? People aren't just compartmentalized into, this is my work life, this is my life. There's multiple facets to us. It's a whole person when you're talking to somebody.
Let's talk about values. This was like one of the things I'm deep into. We talked about it. Tell me what you perceive as like values, like, and how you figure that out with your clients.
Yeah, so I just ask them questions. Sometimes I'll take a pen and I'll drop it off the table. And then I'll see, do they have a reflex to go and pick it up? And if they don't, then I'll know that they are looking for me to serve them. And so things like that.
Weird. It's like social engineering.
Honestly.
What does it mean to you? Like what?
So it's not
can you
that
still
I'm not going
serve
to judge them. Oh yeah, I'm not judging that. It's just that I can see what the reflexes are, so I know what the relationship's going to be like. So I've been in business for a while, and I know the people that are going to be very difficult to work with, and the people that are going to be nice and flowing. It's going to be good for them and me. And my husband is also a co-founder of our company, and so he's like, we have opposite roles, my husband and I. So he does more of the like behind the scenes work, and so it doesn't affect him as much, because he can just do the job. He gets the brief and he does it. But when it comes to relationship, you have to be alignment. There has to be alignment there. So that's just one of my tricks.
I like that. Okay, and then your vision board, does this contain the values?
It does.
Like you write them out?
After I bring them into I have a document. So I do brand strategies for clients, and then I teach them how to be a brand guide in their own company. And so we have these like, yes, statements, but how do you live that brand? Or how do you live, the values in your life? And if those values aren't aligning with actually how your character is, then you strike that off the list. So you could say, oh, I value health, but how do you eat? How do you, like, what are you desiring to do? Do you take care of your body? So if you value health, then your actions will reflect that. And so if you don't value health, obviously it's not a clear top 5 value. So then you take that off the list of things you think you value.
What's the most knocked off value? Is it money and health?
Health. Yeah.
Like people aspire to be healthy, but they don't want to. They don't value it enough to have it make a change in their life. Yeah,
and then there's another one around wealth and prosperity in Saskatchewan. People don't believe that they can be having wealth and prosperity. They think that they need to be humble, and it's a different mindset here in Saskatchewan than Alberta, as an example. So money is different here, I've noticed. The view around money.
Does that become a limited belief?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then do people say they don't value wealth, but they do, or what?
They do. They desire it. They want wealth for their families. They can leave a legacy. They want to leave a legacy for their kids and their grandkids when they're not starting over. But yet they're too stuck in the system of, I can't, or this is as much as I'll ever make. And that's my ceiling. There's no thought of, what if I can do something that's going to make generational wealth so my kids don't have to start over. So there's a lot of limiting beliefs that you uncover as you're talking with people, but you're not going to, just hit them and be like, you have a limiting belief, and just, you have to help them see it, and then you have to help them overcome it, and it's a journey.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, now you get hired to coach someone. Mm-hmm. Like in my case, if I was a customer of yours, I'm the owner, so it's a great, like, I have all the say, right? Like, so if I choose to do something, I can pivot and make it happen. What if you worked with someone? I assume some of your clients are just like hires inside a bigger corporation.
Yes.
How does that work? How much still does it matter that they do their own personal values to align themselves to the company? Or like, I don't want to.
So after working with me, some people leave the company.
Okay.
Um,
So they either leave or become the best employee ever. Is
yeah.
that kind of it? Like there's
Yeah.
no middle ground?
Well, if they want to stay and not be happy. So some of them realize that they can be happy. They don't just have to be here. So sometimes that happens, and then they go and they find a place that fulfills them and what their alignment is. But other times they start to see how they can really have impact in that organization that also gets their personal purpose through. So if I'm, even for myself, when I worked in agencies, if I believed in what the agencies were doing and the companies I worked for, what they were doing, then you're so much more empowered. You're able to do a lot more, and you love being there.
How would you convert, like, how would you help an agency? I'm going to pull this just a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
How would you help an agency transform themselves to be a better employer? Because I assume it's possible to be a workplace that's terrible for human development.
Yes.
We'll just put that umbrella out there. I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then you could be an organization that really embraces people. Even if the work is weird or obscure, in a weird way, people could still get their values fulfilled. Maybe talk about that.
Yeah, so every agency I know in Saskatoon has a different uniqueness. Like they all have their own group of people. So if you think about Almano, they're very B Corp. You think of Frankly, and they're more like doing things like on the edge, is how I see them. And so sometimes agencies don't see themselves in the bird's eye view. So you're always stuck in what you're doing, what you think you should be doing.
And this isn't just agencies.
This could be any company.
Any employer.
Any employer. Yeah, employer. Agencies is an example, getting a bird's eye view, but a lot of agencies are afraid of competition. So I found that that's something that hinders agencies because they're afraid that if they bring for me to come in, that I'm going to steal their secrets. Or if anything, I'm giving them my secrets, but there's a level of trust. So any organization, they have to trust you.
And then, so let's talk about just like a generic company, construction. Yeah. Maybe you make concrete foundations, or you're a roofing company, or have a small retail shop. Mm-hmm. How do you make sure your company is like a company that helps people thrive? Like, how do you and retain your employees? I assume like this is a belief I have I never really identified it, but like a good workplace will be better for the customer.
Always. Yeah.
So how do you like grow that kind of company?
So branding, as an example, starts from the inside out. So it starts with the leadership. And so if the leadership doesn't know the vision, so the leaders are in charge of the keepers of this vision of this company. So it could be concrete, it could be anything. But if there is no bigger vision than just like we are laying concrete, that company won't grow. And you want the company to grow, and everybody inside of it wants to grow. They want to grow their skill set. They want to grow maybe into the next job position, but everybody wants growth. And if a company is stagnant and does not want to grow because they don't have a vision to take them higher, then some people, they leave because they don't see that there's a growth potential and for themselves being there.
So if you have an organization where people can't grow, you will churn.
A lot.
And so and this could apply to any type of workplace.
Any type. So if a company has a vision that's greater than themselves, that they need to have these people a part of it to make this happen, then you see all these people having this vision alignment, and they're working for something greater than themselves.
So how would you talk about a national company like Coca-Cola or Pepsi or McDonald's? Like, how do they, Yeah,
Starbucks is an example. They do the same thing. So they start with the core of their beliefs. Lululemon has a manifesto. So a brand manifesto is like the vision, but you bring in your team members as being a part of this vision. And so it's called a brand manifesto. It's kind of like a patchwork quilt of all these values coming together. So that would be a huge asset to any business, is to go through that exercise, and then you hire and then you train according to that manifesto, that vision.
So does an organization use like a patchwork as an example? Are they the sum of the people as part of it? Like, how much do you want to protect? Let's talk about values as Lego blocks. Let's say you got 10 Lego blocks. when someone new comes, they'll have their own 10 Lego blocks. You take one or two of them and put them in the patchwork. Do you protect it and that's sacred and you never touch, change, adapt it? Like how much do you?
Yeah, I can't dilute. So you can't have something that becomes so diluted and confusing because it's not a clear definition of who you are. So that can happen easily. It's more of when you hire someone, they have to align with these values and this vision.
So do you find if you define it, the better you define it, the better people align to it, the better hires you'll have, the better work you'll do?
Yes.
Like, just you'll steer the ship straighter, sort of.
Yeah, an example would be the Lululemon bags. How they used to have all the kind of sayings on them. They would say like, be the change, all these other kind of sayings that were on these bags. That was built by the main like leaders of the company. But when I look at that as a customer, I'm like, yes, that's me, or I believe that.
I feel like it used to say Coke will be like cigarettes in 20 years. I think that was on a... You should fact check me on this later. I remember seeing that and I thought, anyway, that stuck with me. That was before Lulu moved downtown. Like they were in the old space.
That's great. Yeah.
But but I was like, they're very like future oriented.
Yes.
Human oriented.
Human. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, people have to see themselves. So if someone's going to come work for Studio D, how do they see themselves aligning here? They're not going to come here. That's the new wave of hiring. Is people need to see themselves as a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they spend their time and their life here? Right? That's why. What's their purpose of being here?
And so getting clarity. So, okay, you're working with your customers, you're getting this clarity.
Yeah.
How does that impact products and development and services? Like we're a services company. Like, and, we deliver a product like videos and photography and content. Yeah. How does that values determine how a company develops products and things like that?
Yeah, so then you take that and you align with your customer or the person you serve. So you want to create kind of the new term is like tribes and community. So you're seeing your people as not just a customer, you're seeing them as a part of your community or your tribe. As an example for myself, when I have friends and family, you want to be in a good environment.
Writing the word tribe down.
Yeah, just like tribe or community, it means the same kind of thing. But I want like-minded people that are going to be in my community. It could be family, friends, but they all need to have this sense of we're not grinding gears. We don't see things on opposite sides because then it's hard to coexist and lift each other up in that. So customers are the same way. If you're looking for customers, I want the customers that align with us to be in that community. And it could be different age groups, but they all have the same kind of values and mission in their lives. So as an example, I'm kind of weird. I don't like sugar. I'm going more with essential oils. I use essential oils. I use natural home care, things like that.
And you homeschool. You are an archetype.
Yeah, I'm weird. I know, I'm super weird. Living off
I don't
the
think
land.
I don't think anyone's weird anymore, by the way.
I know, but I live off the land, and so I have these values. And so when I'm in a room with other people,
side note, I want you to finish that. I feel like people who are authentic kind of are. It's almost weird to be authentic.
Yes.
Like people who are like kind of okay doing whatever they feel is the best way to do it. And when it doesn't line up with society or norms,
yes,
they're considered weird, but they're just actually more themselves than the other people.
Yeah, and I found that I'm a more impactful person in every area of my life when I'm true to my identity. So if I'm living in this kind of like who I think other people want me to be, then I'm not fulfilled, and everyone around me can see it, and then they're impacted by me in a negative way. So I'm one of those weird people outside of the norm that loves natural everything.
So you have a huge garden?
Yeah, I do.
You have a cellar now with potatoes and onions?
It's getting there.
Yeah? Or is it halfway empty now?
It's empty right now because, but anyways.
You ate it all?
I'm learning all of that. I never grew up with that, so I'm learning it all.
Did you grow up in the city?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm doing something totally different, but other people who are doing similar things or like, yeah, I have essential oils in my house. I clean with them. I don't use Vim. Then we're just we're chatting. There's a value alignment. Same idea with your customers, that your brand needs to be getting those people so well that they feel like they're a part of your tribe, that you understand their challenges, what they're going through so well that you can help them through every aspect of that. and they can help you. So it's a give and take.
I really like this. You got me thinking about like my own customers and like if I treated them like a tribe. I heard this one. I can't remember who was a marketer or just like a life. I do some other stuff. I'd call it life coaching. I don't talk about it like that, but when I say it, everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But they were talking about like really great marketing is when you put your flag in the sand somewhere and you like stick to it, because it's like you'll definitely repel some people. And I think, talking about fears, people think everyone could be the client. But the benefit of putting your flag in the sand is you start attracting the people who are of the same belief, whatever that service, philosophy, whatever it is.
100%.
So
100%.
Yeah.
If you don't stake your space in the ground, then you're not able to fulfill what you need to fulfill. You're not able to become that person that you could be. So it's scary to stake your flag there, but other people will be so much better served by you, and you'll be so fulfilled. But if when you're serving people that don't align, that's the challenge. So when people are talking to me about like, oh my gosh, you homeschool, how could you ever, and they just don't understand. It's not their fault. I'm not upset by it in any way. It's just they wouldn't be a part of this group of alignment. They don't have a curiosity. If someone has a curiosity but they're not doing something, that's okay. They're curious, so it means that they might be interested. But if they don't, they're just not a part of that community.
Do you think people should embrace being weird, quote unquote?
Yeah, that's called uniqueness.
Yeah. Just
USP, right? They say that in marketing. Unique selling proposition. That's in marketing. That's what everybody says. But you want to embrace your uniqueness.
So your customers or your do you call them students? Do you call them like your people part of your monthly? Is it Brand Venture Academy is that specific sort of business model of like the monthly?
Yeah, that's entrepreneurs focused.
Okay.
But we do have people that are within organizations who don't have the degrees, or they have from SAS Polytech, or they've gone somewhere else, and they just wanted to have this more awareness about brand as a whole. So they come in also, but it's mainly focused with entrepreneurs.
Could that be its whole its own brand campaign, like be weird, be you? Or
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely could.
And then you have the word guide in your brand or your name.
Yeah.
And I love that. What's sort of the heart of what you want to do? Like, what are you trying to achieve with your agency, like at the end of the day?
Yeah, I think people get stuck in their wheels spinning all the time. And I saw people...
I'm putting my hand up.
Yeah, I would say almost everybody. I would say everybody has these wheels turning of like, what am I doing is right? Is this, should I go this way? This is totally against the grain, but I have no guide with me when I'm blazing new territory. Like if you're out in the bush and you're making a new trail, you're making a new trail through it. You want to have somebody there helping you blaze that trail. You don't want to just do it alone. We aren't meant to be alone. And so with Guide, it's all about guiding people so that they can become the best that they can become, and their brand can be the best that it can be, and it can thrive sustainably.
You're very sure of yourself, which I appreciate. I assume it hasn't always been that way.
Oh, I still am not.
Well, but how did you're very confident in like what you want to do. Not everybody gets there ever, or takes them a long time. Like they get there the hard way. Like how did you kind of get to where you are now? Like that viewpoint of like, this is what we want to do. We want to be the guides.
Yeah.
We want to help people blaze the trail. Like
well,
even what your business you've invented, like you kind of just made it up. Like it's non-conventional in my opinion.
Yeah.
And yet it
feels normal to us because we do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's totally different.
And I love that about what you and your husband are doing with your organization. So tell me kind of like how you got there.
Yeah, well, it was, like I said, it's always a journey. And if I took every, challenge and wrong misstep as a learning. So I stopped seeing things as like a victim, like I'm a victim in this, or I did, this happened because of COVID. This happened because, and stop blaming the situation and started taking responsibility for it in the midst of that. So how can I learn from this instead of how can I be wounded? And so it hurt. It's hard to do that. And then from there, I started to learn, this happened around 2020, is when I started using the Bible as a blueprint to fact check things that I was doing with a source. So for me, it was I always fact check. So if I'm doing something with a brand, I want to make sure that I'm fact checking. And so for my journey so far, that is how I fact check what I'm saying and doing that can align with something greater than myself.
So did you grow up as a religious person? Are you even religious now? Or are you just like...
No, I'm not.
Tell me about how you use that as a book.
I don't attend a church. I'm not, I'm only based on the Bible. So anything that doesn't align with that, I don't give any emphasis or trust in that. So I've had other coaches that have coached on the same topics and used something foundational to fact check. And so for me, that's where I focus.
Okay, religious or not, why is the Bible that book for you?
Because it reveals the truths of when I'm going through a situation. It has the answers of how to overcome it.
Can you share an example?
Yeah.
Or and if this is too intimate, you just tell me. We can put the brakes on.
No, I'm all for it. Even that is in itself very controversial, because people think about being a part of a church as being, and that framework. It's interesting how it's very different than what if people say they believe in the Bible or follow it, that doesn't actually happen. So it's very controversial.
So this is since COVID, the Bible's become part of your life. Interesting.
Yeah, and who kind of opened my mind to that was my coach. Was even just my coach, and then also other coaches I've been watching on YouTube. And so I'm looking for a new mentor that can kind of unlock those other truths and to help guide me so I can continue to guide others.
Jordan Peterson talks about Disney stories and Bible stories, and he talks about them as like archetypes, like almost like I'm not an expert in this. I grew up religious. I grew up religious, so I know the stories.
Yeah.
But like there are archetypes, and my bet is they've lasted the test of time because they're human stories.
Yes.
Which I guess is probably the point of an archetype.
Yeah, it's like anyone who's been through something that you are going through, that you can also see yourself in that. And then you're like, how do I overcome this? How did they overcome that challenge? So then it helps you feel like you're not alone. Because we don't want to feel alone, or that we're the only ones going through this challenge, as no one's talking about that challenge.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, we should have another podcast all about that. I'm very interested.
I'm learning. So for me, it's unlocking. Okay, so I look in now, I'm like, okay, I'm going through these challenges. I'm going kind of through a transition point of getting rid of my old fears that have been holding me back. And so I'm like, how do I do that?
Do you have any favorite stories?
There are different stories for different seasons.
The Bible's full of weird stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Messages of hope. The parables of Jesus are like, they're universal. Like,
the biggest one would be renewing my mind. So in anything you're in, if you decide that you want to renew your mind and getting rid of all the negative things that aren't serving you, then you go forward in this new person you want to be. So I would say the biggest one is that renewal of who I'm continuing to be. It's not automatically I'm a new person. It's just this journey of renewing all the kind of programming I've been in, all the things that I learned. I went to a Catholic school, like high school and elementary, but what is false in the life and what is truth in the life, and in all things. And so it's a journey. Interesting. Do you have any YouTubers that are like doing similar things that you could recommend to people? Or I follow Dan Romer. Okay. He's a part of Goshen, and so he's about building that life. So I watch him. Myron Golden was one that kind of like hit me over the head a little bit of about sales and mindset. So I watch him as well. Different, yeah. Do they use the Bible in there? They do. Everything is a blueprint. Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. That's interesting. Yeah. So when I'm like, I don't know what to do, that's my go-to. Here's my tendency. So I was like a churchgoer until I was like 30.
drank the Kool-Aid, made the Kool-Aid,
Yes.
like all the stuff.
Yes.
And then when I kind of was exiting in the church world, they call it deconstructing.
Okay.
Like you're deconstructing sort of like everything you've been taught to reanalyze it.
Gotcha.
If you go on Instagram or YouTube or whatever,
I'll just
just
check it out.
faith deconstruction. It's a whole thing. And then
my
you
gosh.
like see everybody who's like coming away from it because religion itself has a lot of like baggage with it. Like
Yes.
there's rules and then there's every type of flavor.
Oh,
And then
it's crazy.
but yeah, my first instinct was to sort of throw out it all, and I actually cringed at the word spiritual for years.
Mm-hmm.
Like still, I'm like, someone talks about spirituality, I'm like,
Mine is religion.
that's the word.
Yeah, what's good. It's good to kind of challenge those things too, right? For me, is when I say yes, I believe in the Bible, and they'll say, "Oh, what church do you go to?" And I'm like, if there was a church on the Bible, I'd go, but I haven't found it yet.
Interesting. Yeah, I still send my kids to Bible camp, and
Yeah, no, say nothing is wrong.
And-
But there's a lot of like you said, deconstruction afterwards. There's a lot of false in there. That just doesn't serve people. It's a way to control people, to keep them stuck, to put them into the system. Like it's connected with the system of culture.
Well, I'll share a story with you. I wonder if you had a similar experience. I felt very like disempowered in my early like 20s, like late teens, early 20s, probably my whole 30s. And this is probably why I made the choices I did to kind of like leave that all. But I felt like limiting beliefs, like for sure there everywhere. Like, oh, dad promised me he would pay for university and then backed out. Parents got divorced, couldn't go to school. All these things, like I was a non-educated person, not really worth my weight, for anything, and didn't view myself as having doors open for me. That was like a huge part of, and that was definitely connected to my faith. Like, oh, like I am this way because I'm a sinner / I'm
the guilt of like
I'm the tainted thing or whatever. And like, it was just like, not worthy, right? Like I couldn't just have willpower to do things. And now I'm like, okay, willpower doesn't even exist. It's just like, you only want to do the things you want to do. So stop fighting
What's in
it.
here? Yeah.
Stop fighting it.
Yes.
Which is funny. And it's like transition. I feel like through almost like I couldn't do anything else. I've talked to other creatives and it's like, I couldn't actually do any other thing else. That's why I'm here now. Like, it's like, it was almost like it's inevitable. A flavor of what I do now was going to be part of my life. Or probably I would have like ended my life, or not even really joking, like just like, or, even living an unfulfilled life is like, despair is almost like a non-livable life.
Yes. It's a dead life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to do it. You're not.
They call it the quiet life of despair. And it's like,
Yeah.
when I see anything that resembles that lifestyle, like if we go on a shoot and I see a job that would be that to me.
Yeah.
I'm like I get like tense and I'm like, oh my gosh, I avoided this one. Like, and like I could easily see myself doing that. Like part of it's too, it's like the social norms to like get a job, get a house, have a family, be happy, go to church, whatever it is.
Totally.
Other people's values imposed on me.
Yeah, they want you to be.
What other people would define as good or, feel
successful.
Yeah. Especially as a kid, it's like good.
Yeah.
Go in a church setting. Oh, you're a good Christian kid. That's a nice label to have, but man, that will mess you up.
Oh yeah, because then you carry all the guilt. So if you've done something wrong, you're like, oh, I'm good for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, which leads to you got to be a certain way, so the true you is always hidden, and then that's filled with the guilt of unfulfilling the imaginary version of yourself.
Totally. That's like the false identity versus the true identity.
Man, we're going deep here.
You got it. Yeah. But that if we don't go deep, how can you have that on the outside? So the inside is what dictates how you behave, what you do, how you act. So even your character is defined by your inner, like what you desire and what you believe. So
I think I didn't know it. I think that was the start. I'm turning 40 this year. Yeah. So this would be about when I was 30. Like I remember I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know who I was. I couldn't answer those questions. And now it's like, I feel like I've spent the last for sure 8 years, probably 10, trying to figure out. I think I had to like start leaving to open some doors. And now I'm finally able to talk about spirituality again. It's like a part of me.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's ambiguous because I don't know what it is. I don't know what that means, but I know it's like there's a part of me. Like the most unique thing about humans is like you think you have full control of your life.
Yeah.
And then the easy way to know there's something different is like you don't pick what you like.
Yeah. Exactly.
You just like what you like.
Yeah.
And it's unique to you. You'll have things you have in common with other people.
But you're unique.
Yeah. And then even why you like something, your motives could be completely fingerprint unique to someone else and you still like the same thing.
That's why we believe in no competition. There's no competition for a unique person. Every person is unique. You're not like anyone else. Your video company is not like anyone else.
So tell me about like, you know, I think I share a similar thing. I think we practically function that way where we've been starting to do public talks. I have a competitor, you could call him by definition, on the podcast tomorrow. And
that's good.
And him and I are also a similar belief. It's like, we could share everything we do. If you copied it 100%, sure, maybe you could do what we do. But we're also an always evolving, adapting company.
Yeah.
We're who we were versus 3 months ago.
Yeah. It's always changing.
Yeah. Like
you have a vision in here that you're acting out. They would have a different vision. So if they tried to copy yours, it's not going to be the way that you see it.
Would they likely be getting, well, I mean, not necessarily, but they could be even copying someone else, could be getting further from their own vision, which would
be, and
perhaps lead to misery.
Exactly, because everything was built off of someone else, and that's not fulfillment.
In marketing, I tell people, I've made a couple of reels about this. It's like you really suck at being someone else, but you're really good at being you. So just be you.
Totally.
And then we can go from there. That's it. We don't have to pretend.
Yeah, like even when I had headshots from you with Opus, and even the way that you made me feel so comfortable, even though I'm like terrified of the camera, it gets crazy. But I've had lots of headshots. But even just the way that you communicate with people, and for myself, just speaking from experience, even just that, like, I can feel comfortable. So when someone feels comfortable, they can be them. The
first thing I ask people to do is breathe.
Yeah.
I have them like breathe in.
Yeah.
And then out. And I just tell them to drop their shoulders, pretend they just went to yoga, be tall.
Yeah.
And it's funny, because a photograph will like really, when you carry tension, you can't quite see it, but you know it.
You know it's there.
And you have a 20 pixel tall photo on LinkedIn, you can still see it. Our brains are like...
You can see, yes.
Our brains can just see tension, and like, it's the same part of your brain that knows when someone's looking at you from like 100 feet away. You just know it.
It's true.
Yeah, we're really wired uniquely to see that. So anyway, like, it's just this thing I started having people do. Partly to correct posture. I have the worst posture.
Oh, being, design.
But when you're like relaxed and like up, Jordan Peterson has, I don't know how much I believe this thing, but I read that 12 Rules for Life book, and the first chapter was about lobsters and putting your shoulders back will give you more serotonin. True or not, I think that guy jumps to conclusions a little easy, but it is good body language, and it does.
Yes.
People in their element tend to, when you're kind of working from, I don't want to say proud, but like pride, but like where you're like really shining. Yeah. You tend to just do that.
Yeah, as a confidence. Yeah.
Well, it happens when you know what you're doing.
And do you want to work with somebody who's like this, like, afraid of what they're even saying? You don't want to work with like subconsciously, you don't want to work with someone who isn't sure about what they're saying or what they're doing, or like I wouldn't want to. My coaches have all been very like,
put your flag in the sand.
Put your flag in the sand.
Do it.
Yeah. There's always challenges.
I'm gonna check the time.
Yeah.
Just so I'm on track. Yeah, we're good. I wanted to talk a little bit about actual business. We've talked about. I think what we've talked about so far is exactly what I was hoping to get to. Mm-hmm. I think it paints a picture of like diving a little deeper first. You recommending the vision board. Thank you for sharing that. Mm-hmm. Asset with us. But like getting into that vision, let's talk about, I wrote down Worst mistake entrepreneurs make when launching a product. So you got startups. Maybe, you know what? Let's do one step earlier. Where do most brands struggle getting new customers?
Maybe I would say the big one is not knowing their customers. So if they're struggling to get new customers, but they don't know where their customers are and what channels they're using, then they're everywhere. It's the old school like spray and pray mentality. But when you have, say, social media, for example, it's knowing where are they on social media, where you want to focus. So founders focus in every way, every area. So my advice is to understand your customer and where are they first.
Do you think most people don't do that?
Yeah, they say, oh yeah, it's my audience is between 18 and 38 or 18 and 65. Well, that's just an age range, but who are they really? Who's your tribe? Yeah.
And then how do you define that? Like I've talked with some people recommend like look at the problem you love to solve and anyone who has that problem or could use that solution. Yeah,
first I would say it's even what group are they in? So like for me in oils, like if someone invites me to like an oils and natural living group on Facebook, I'm all in. Like you got me, hook, line, and sinker. And then you can, then they start selling to me and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll buy those jars, whatever those things. But you understand the person's desire inside of that group. So my mother-in-law is also in those types of circles as well. And she's a lot older than me. And so we have a similar value alignment understanding, but we're two different people.
So if they broke it by age range, they would have got you potentially.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other people who don't care.
Exactly.
And then lost out on your mother-in-law.
Exactly.
So then now how does this differ? Is it a client avatar or is it different from a client avatar?
I do 3. So I do your primary audience first. So thinking about who is the person that's going to be your biggest fan and who are they really? And then you understand, usually you are them.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. Usually you are them or you have an understanding of what they're going through because if you're an entrepreneur, sometimes you've created this because of a problem you had. So maybe this product or service is because I'm developing this because I had this problem. And so you are solving a problem for people. People aren't going to buy a product if it doesn't solve a problem. Like if I'm in this oil group a natural living, and then they say, buy these jars, they're selling me these jars in this company, but it's not about the jars. It's about what life am I creating? What do I desire to do with the jars? So carving that. Number 1 would be who's the primary audience in there, and then I do 2 other audiences that are like-minded to the first one. So like me would be 1, and then my mother-in-law would be a 2nd, and then someone else would be the 3rd.
Who in this example? Who?
It could be my husband. My husband's the same. So me and my husband, male, female, and then my mother-in-law. Let's just say, I've got male, 40, and then you got 35, and you got a 60, all in there sharing the same values, on the same mission. You're solving that's your tribe to start with. And then you want to bring in more people in those similar age ranges and mindset.
So you're not expanding how many different audiences. You're just trying to get the audiences you have attracting more.
Yes. Of like-minded. Tribe building. Yeah.
Let's do like another example here. What if you're a retail store, private mom pop shop? Let's say like a Wilson's or something, or Dutch Growers, 2 of my favorite Saskatoon companies. How would a company like that define their audiences? Like, Wilson's has like multiple offerings. Like they have the playground. I don't know if you've ever brought your kids to the zipline obstacle course, or they've got go-karting, bowling, a restaurant. They also have all the plant supplies and outdoor living furniture, and then Dutch Growers. I think of these because I'm very fond of them and they're local. And they're same but different. They're like completely different to me. So and they do such a good job, I think, of their marketing.
So when I look at brands that are, they're similar but different, I would say, okay, well, this Wilson's is targeting primarily families. So they want families kind of the next price point. So you want people that are going to be coming more than once every 3 months. You want the biggest fans. Yes, other people will come, but you want to be focusing all of your efforts on the people that are going to be coming most often, and then are going to tell all of their friends and communities about this place. So you want to have the biggest fans as your primary. So for them, they would be focusing on family. And then the other with Dutch growers, I'm not sure.
Fashion would be a big
Fashion,
one. That's
yeah.
what my wife
So,
loves there.
right. And so.
And they still have, like, I think both greenhouses are both pretty good experiences, but yeah, that's
outdoor living versus,
fashion. Fashion's a big thing there.
Yeah, with their initiative as well. And yeah.
I guess even the way they do their social media, lots of try-ons, lots of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
This is cool. So find that tribe, stake the flag in the ground.
Yeah, who are
3 audiences, primary first.
Totally.
And then if you have limited energy for marketing, you kind of just, instead of diluting the efforts, you kind of go to one.
Go all in, yeah.
To one, okay.
Yeah, so you can have a couple different audiences, but who is going to have the most revenue? Like, from your revenue is going to grow the most from these people. So that's who you focus on, because they are fans and they also have the money. It's not just someone who's just a fan, but it won't be able to afford what you have. So you have to also think about that too in your planning of your archetype.
Worst mistake entrepreneurs make when launching a product?
I would say we work with a lot with e-commerce and like even in food business. A lot of them, I would say they don't account for money in their budgeting for marketing. So that would be the big one, is how much do you have? And then being very specific on where you're going to grow it. So if it's SEO, if you're focusing on the SEO game, you don't want to just do SEO, but you want to do one thing at a time. A lot of entrepreneurs, they don't have the capacity to do every single avenue for marketing, a multi-channel ad campaign. Like, you don't have the funds to do that. Some people say, I'm just gonna get on the radio when I'm launching my product. If radio is great as part of a large, campaign in a different purpose, but a lot of entrepreneurs, you have to be very smart with the money you have, and you do need to have some capital for that, save for that. Biggest challenge.
Do you ever have to convince people to spend on advertising? I guess when they get to your door, they're already sort of bought in because they're already.
I stopped doing marketing in-house. So we used to offer in-house services. So I used to do for entrepreneurs. I used to do a lot of different social media at the time. I used to do SEO. We used to do SEO, and a lot of we would then do the brand. Then we'd then do and have to tell them what marketing is so important in that planning. But for us, we refer out right now. We don't do it in-house anymore. We train them instead.
That's cool. And refer or.
Yeah, we refer, or if they want to go through training and do it themselves because they have no money, then they come and they can do that, but it's going to take them longer than paying a company to get that out.
How important is ad spending? A lot of people lean on organic everything.
Yeah, everyone's like, I'm just going to go on social media only. It's hard because you have to understand, are they on? Like, where in social media are they on? And then how much time are you posting every day? What does that look like to get the results you want? So if you desire these results and this goal of this launch, how are you going to do that? If you say, I'm going to grow an email list. Okay, well, how are you going to get the emails? What kind of a opt-in are you going to have that's going to get that email? So I talked to them about the fancy terms of like a lead magnet. Like, do you have like something you're going to give someone for free to get them to get the email? So have you thought about those types of things? And then entrepreneurs just kind of freak out at that point, thinking that it's too difficult. So I either teach them in our training, but I'd prefer them to get those initial things done with a marketing company to set that up first.
So you kind of recommend the structure, the prioritize what to do first.
Yes, because you can do everything for everyone, but you have to be very specific.
Love it. I'm gonna burn these questions. What do you see your organization looking like in the next 5 years? Do you know? You said before we were rolling, just last 3 months even have been, since I last saw you, it was big change.
Yeah.
Tell me as much as you want to share about that, or can share.
I would say for myself, I'm in knowledge sharing mode. I've learned a lot of things. I've developed a lot of systems in the agency side for branding that I know a lot of, for example, a lot of agencies, they do 20 sometimes 20 revisions on a brand. We have the most of 3 revisions, not going back to the drawing board. And so we have this like system that we've developed. And we don't want to just sit on the system for our own brands. We want to share it. So people's lives could be so much easier, and they could have, a couple revisions versus having like 20 revisions. I know this because I used to work in agencies. So, but anyway, we've created these systems, and I don't want to just keep them. So I want to train people how to use them.
So you're going to be training agencies too? Is that,
yeah.
or do you already?
I haven't trained agencies, just in-house companies. So the companies who want to bring their in-house in, and they have 15 people that are doing different components of marketing. I bring it in, or I come and I train those departments.
Okay, so we work a lot. I would say most of our customers are in-house contacts, like they're the marketing director, coordinator,
Yes.
whatever, communications. What's the biggest thing they get wrong? As
In terms of like living that
the
brand, or-
organization itself gets wrong about what that person is capable of or expected of them, or
Yeah, it all is. It's like a machine. So when everyone's working well together, then it's working seamlessly, and everyone can do what they're needing to do, and then it just works together. But if there's a couple in the cog that either don't have the skill set, maybe they don't have the understanding of their job description, even just those little things that are out of alignment can cause a lot of friction and problems. Sometimes it's basic, they might have a symptom of like, this person isn't doing what they need to do, or it's taking them too long. There's other symptoms, but then when they have that alignment, then they can actually function as a group.
I saw a job posting for a local organization not that long ago, and the job description was like insanely, like I was like, I'm a pretty skilled person. Maybe I could do that and fulfill that job description. And if I could barely do it,
yeah,
I'm like 40. I've done this for a long time because it was like photography, video, web design, SEO, Instagram, social,
graphic design.
Graphic
Like,
design.
yeah, I think I've seen that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're asking a lot of a person. Like you're looking for a unicorn when you're asking those questions, and then they're falling short of that job description. So I help write those descriptions and roles specific in organizations.
What's the, like, I feel like that's not a recipe for success.
No, not at all. It's failure. You're setting people up for failure.
And then they'll think that just person wasn't qualified or whatever. But, and then the other part I didn't say, but I think is also missing is like, if they hire someone for that role, they're also assuming they know how to do that all, where they're discounting like someone's just got to think and set a vision for the marketing.
Totally.
That's a job, or at least a part-time job.
Yeah.
And then the execution on it's its own thing. So like for someone to, hey, come do this. We don't want to pay agencies anymore. We want to just do it in-house. It'll be cheaper.
But then everybody is mismanaged, and the people that are managing them and leading them, they don't know themselves. They're really good at their role, but they don't know how to manage a team. It'd be an agency runs in a different way. There's a creative director that's in charge. There's also there's briefs that everybody gets, and then there's also tasking, and there's time management. All that is a part of an agency and how it runs. And if you're running it how you just I have a few designers, now we're adding a full marketing. You can't run it the same way you've always ran it. You have to have a different system that's going to serve everybody in there.
It's so interesting. Yeah, I'm very curious, like on the future of the industry. I'm optimistic about it, but yeah, I see it. Like I feel like that shortfall is like where we've already gotten work is like, oh, the person we hired to do it just didn't do it. Like many a job I've been handed a hard drive of some junk that someone else filmed.
Yes.
And they were just like a grad out of school, and I'm like, like we live, eat, breathe this stuff. Like what do you want me to do with
Why
this?
are you giving this to me? Yeah.
Like if he couldn't edit it because it wasn't good to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, sure, he was on a good camera. The file technically is fine. Yeah. It's like, this isn't anything. And then, anyway.
Oh, it's painful. Even I do training of in-house teams that have gotten just a brand new rebrand with another agency. So you got a rebrand with an agency, and then they hire me to train them how to live the brand inside. So I'm happy to do that. But agencies also need to know, how do I take this new brand and then equip the people who are doing the thing inside?
I mean, an opportunity for you.
Wow.
It's probably like it. Like there's like just like a disconnect. Like I don't know. Like I get why the world's going the way it is, and I think part of it's just volume. The volume of content, the volume of communication that needs to be done is so high. You know, like when we do a video project, it's usually like 2 to 10 deliverables from like one thing. Photography's always been easier because I call photography almost like a lazy craft because you can just create cool images and figure out how to use them later.
Right.
Video, you can't do that.
No, very specific.
And so in our video has only been part of our studio since like 2016. So 10 years now.
Yeah.
But like slowly the hard way I learned like you can't just go take cool footage.
Yeah.
Sensational content is like it doesn't work. Like
we're also on a mindset shift right now too, where people are seeing video and photo, and if anything looks slightly AI, they're also flagging that as not real. And people are looking for authenticity and real photos. So we're getting into the new wave of people. Everybody's using AI to generate and do all that. But because you already have this skill and the team that's so crafted at this, that you're also in this great place of authenticity, of authentic photos, video, and it's not generated by AI.
Yeah, well, and AI's.
Oh no,
the more you use it, the more you see. Like it doesn't have feeling, insight, pain, and that's where like
or story.
Pleasure, story, which is like what stories are about because you see yourself in those journeys. AI does not have the capacity to like even fake it. Like
it's impossible, and you can always sense it. So, and I do think that people will always be able to sense it. Kind of like when you have like anything fake, you know, artificial vanilla tastes different than real vanilla. You know, artificial anything.
Diet Coke, technically it's fake sugar, right?
It's fake sugar. So you always can tell when something is fake. It's just like an innate sense that we have. And so you can sense that something is just not right, not real. But when you sense something is right, then that trust is already built there as well. Yeah. So I think you're in a really great place for where things are going with the market.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic about it. I think before we were rolling, I was like, I don't claim to know everything. I'm just trying to do things. And I think that curiosity is sort of one of our like secret weapons. Is like, I'm okay to like take the risk to try to, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's okay.
Yeah. You can see it come through in the work that you're producing.
Yeah. So I'm actually more scared of being very sure of myself on anything. I feel like that's like a death trap of.
Yeah. It's you want to be humble. Yeah. Right. And you want to know like, I don't have it figured out. We're all on a journey. No one has it figured out.
Yeah. The one thing I'm sure of is people love to have if you fulfill someone's values, you will fulfill them and they will want to reciprocate.
Oh yeah.
And they will give you money for it. They will give you love for it. That's how you find a partner, spouse. That's how you raise kids. Yeah. Beyond that, I'm like not too sure of anything. But yes. I know human connection is like that part of us that we don't choose. We're just wired that way. Yeah. That's like the lean, and that'll probably guide our ship.
Definitely. I love it.
Anyway. Yeah. Couple quick fire questions to wrap it up. Mm-hmm. Deep focus or collaborative work? Like sitting by yourself, solo?
Oh, I think it's both.
Yeah.
It's kind of like hard work meets rest.
You have 2 kids, you homeschool, so your schedule's going to be your own. It's not. I assume not traditional. When how do you take turns? Your husband does he?
Yeah, we switch off with everything.
Okay. Yeah. Take shifts.
And then when we have a freelance team, so we have that side as well. But as we need, we bring in the reinforcements to have this all work.
One part of business you had to relearn the hard way.
I would say it'd be planning, because I'm a visionary, and so getting to the action point, plan. So the vision, then you have the plan, then you have the action. Going from vision to plan to action, I would say is something I'm still learning to do. Not just see that everything has to be done in this vision tomorrow. It's something that I need to pick away at and choose one thing at a time. Not like we're doing the whole vision right now. So that's one that I have to keep reminding myself every day.
How much do you chunk it down? Do you chunk it down to like the day, the hour?
Yeah, every morning I start off with defining what I'm working on, like what of this vision I'm working towards. And then I start off by looking on and mood boarding in the morning, because that just fires me up.
Interesting.
Yeah. So when I do that, then I can keep going.
A habit that keeps you grounded when work gets intense.
For me, I read that Bible. Yeah. Because it grounds me in a sense of it's not just me dealing with this and I'm not having to fix it. I don't have to deal with it. I'm able to take it off of myself so that the stress and tension isn't there. So I've been a hustle grind person for a long time. And so having to release the hustle grind, hard work, yes, but not hustle grind. So
I'm right there with you, actually.
I'm renewing my mind in that because I know it's not sustainable.
Favorite thing to do when you're not working?
Oh, relaxing.
Yeah. What do you do? What do you do for relaxing?
I like going for walks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
outside?
How old were your kids again?
4 and 8.
What's your favorite thing to do with them as a parent?
We like to just do things. We go on adventures. We have a cabin.
Where's your cabin?
Big Shell Lake.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we do a lot of fishing and.
You go in the winter, like do some ice fishing?
No, I'm a wimp.
Okay, so getting on the lake.
More so in the summer, yeah.
Chilling on a beach is a perfect day.
Yeah. Yeah, a balance between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, rest, but also fun.
Yeah. This will be my last question for you. What is one belief or idea about business or branding that you wish more people would slow down and really think about?
That branding, it's not a waste of time to focus on yourself and your identity, and then the inside of your brand and your brand's identity on the inside. It's important to start there instead of focusing on the marketing first.
I love it. Thank you for being here, Hannah.
Thanks for having me.
This has been awesome, by the way.
A lot of fun.
I feel like I could talk to you for a long time. So
It's fun.
we'll just
Thank
have
you.
to make it happen again. If you'd like to connect with Hannah, you can find her on Instagram at guide.branding or visit guidebranding.com. And you're also on LinkedIn. But if you're a networker, you'll see her out and about. That's how I met. So awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you.